You're listening to She's the Business podcast. Now, whether you love or hate it, we all know that AI is here to stay. So it's not a matter of if, but more when and how are you going to integrate it into your business. And just like you don't wake up tomorrow and decide you're going to go and climb Mount Everest and set off immediately to do so, the same with integrating AI into your business doesn't need to be climbing the whole mountain in one go on the first day. There's definitely a matter of time and an investment in time and training that you'll make in order to have it really working well for you. So in today's episode, we're answering all the tricky questions like, where should you or shouldn't you be looking to implement AI? What are the mistakes that people have made? Where should you begin? And what type of approach actually works in order to get the best results and really take some of those time-consuming things off your plate right now? Imagine having a new member of your team that was actually your AI bot and they're doing things for you. So we're getting into this today with an AI strategist who knows all about the different platforms and has helped many business owners to get started in AI. So stay tuned. This is coming right up. Hello, I'm your host, Jessica Osborne. I'm a marketing strategist and business coach with more than 25 years experience now creating marketing strategy, building brands, building businesses, including 2 of my own that I started from home on my dining room table with 2 little kids running around at my feet. I blend a mixture of positioning strategy, category of 1, your signature offer design, and really simple, effective marketing systems that enable you to run the sort of business that leaves you more time for living your life. Because don't we all know it? Your time is the most precious thing that you have. In this podcast, I have brought together guests who can share with you strategies, tips and techniques and stories that will inspire you. We cover everything from business, marketing, sales, and finance to your health, your wellness, spirituality, energetics, all of the fun things that go into you being successful as the leader of your own business and the leader of your life. So this is your weekly dose of motivation and inspiration made by women for women just like you. Now let's get into today's episode. Joining me today is my very special guest, Andrea Palacio. She is the founder and AI business strategist at Crewless. She helps service-based businesses to eliminate manual work, and she does this by helping you to identify and implement the AI systems that are really going to work best for your business. Andrea herself built systems that cut admin from 3 hours to 10 minutes a day. She's a mum, an entrepreneur, and a traveler, and I think you're just going to love her really down-to-earth approach and practical wisdom that she shares with us in today's conversation. So without further ado, let me play the interview for you. Awesome. So, hey, we're here in the studio today, our virtual studio, with Andrea Palacio. Welcome, Andrea. So good to have you here.
Thank you, Jessica. I'm so excited to be here with you today.
Yeah, me too. Now, Andrea is the founder of Crewless. You're an AI strategist and someone who's obviously been right into the whole world of AI and understanding how best we can use it for our business, which is incredible. Can you tell us a little bit more about your company, Crewless? What do you do? And really, how did you get started? Why did you decide to get started in this?
Yeah, of course. So what I do is essentially help businesses automate the processes that are repetitive, that are manual. And the reason why I got into this in the first place, it's kind of a crazy story. A little over 3 years ago, my husband and I, we acquired a landscaping company. We actually come from the e-commerce business because we started an e-commerce business 10 years ago when we left our corporate jobs. And it allowed us to travel around the world. We lived on a sailboat for years. And then I found I was pregnant and we kind of felt a little bit stuck professionally. And so we decided to sell the business once we moved back to Miami. When we sold the business, we started looking into M&A and, just acquisitions overall. And we ended up coming across all these videos on how you could start acquiring business, potentially eventually just exit and make a ton of money, right? So it seemed pretty easy, pretty straightforward, not a big deal. Buy a boring business, make money, right? Why not? So we did that. We bought a landscaping business without really knowing anything about landscaping, without knowing what we were getting ourselves into. And turns out it was completely different from running an e-commerce business. And so we end up, I end up pregnant. Well, not pregnant. When we buy the company, my son, my firstborn, is 6 months old, and I'm pregnant with my second son. And it was the hardest time of my life. We end up, the previous owner steals money from us, disappears within 4 days, 5 days of buying the business, and we are just sales start going down. We start losing customers within maybe a month, 2 months. We had the manager, he quit on us, told the employees to leave because we weren't going to make it. And we end up going from 12 employees down to 2 employees, $70,000 per month down to $40,000 a month. Wow. And my husband and I, we acquired the business using a small business, an SBA loan. And so that loan, you have to back it up with your personal assets as collateral. So everything that we had ever worked for was on the line with that company, right? And so we end up just saying, okay, we cannot lose this. We have 2 kids now. We have to figure it out. So we started working a ton, and that meant we were working 80-hour weeks. I was doing everything that was customer service, administrative work, trying to figure out the marketing. So because we were losing so many accounts, just trying to figure out how we could get more leads into our business. And so what ends up happening is that I'm completely overwhelmed. My husband's out there doing the sales. He's out there and he's he ends up doing the labor just because we don't have any more employees. So he's literally out there doing the physical work, coming at home 6, 7 p.m., sweaty, Miami heat. It is, it was a tough time. And I'm with the kids, just holding one, crying, trying to answer the phone with my customers and trying to not get people to cancel. And while I'm overwhelmed, I try to hire in 5 different countries, try to hire virtual assistants, and it just doesn't work out because I'm not that great of a leader at training, and second, because it's a lot harder to find reliable people than to kind of get AI organized in a way where it helps you constantly, right? And so I end up just saying, okay, let me hire someone to put together some kind of chatbot for me for customer service that will help me manage my calls. And so I end up hiring someone from I don't know from where, but someone Upwork, like overseas, to help me kind of deal with all this volume of calls, because we're missing calls from, we're putting all this money in marketing. And then as we put the money on marketing, we're missing the calls because I can't take the calls. My husband's, doing the labor. So we end up losing the opportunity to make that money, right? Losing that revenue is essentially leaking. But that doesn't work out. I paid him, $700 to get started. 5 months later, I still have nothing. Gives me this terrible dialogue flow system that doesn't do did nothing.
Wow.
So I end up just saying, okay, well, I have the idea. Let me try to automate some other parts. Maybe we're getting a lot of complaints. Let me find a way to automate where as soon as our crews do the service for the properties, we'll automatically send an email to the customer with the pictures of the service, asking them for a review. So we ultimately grow on Google Maps, get more leads. And so I hire someone to help me do that automation. And that was built on make.com. When I go look at it, I'm like, that's it. Like, that's it. This is it. It's that simple. And so I end up just going down this rabbit hole and going down into YouTube University, just teaching everything about automations, about AI. And that's just kind of what got me started, just trying to solve my own problems within my business. I end up implementing a bunch of AI voice agents that handle our calls, book appointments directly into our calendar, Jobber, which we use for a landscaping company. It went so good to the point where I was able to completely step away from the business. My husband now runs it remotely, kind of part-time now. And we rejected an offer for the business when we listed it for sale because we were so just exhausted, completely drained that we listed for sale. And after we implemented AI, we got an offer and we're like, we don't really need to sell it anymore. The business making money, we don't work anymore as much. And so
Yeah.
that's really what got me into this
Wow.
whole world of AI.
Yeah, I so relate to some of that pain. Like you're hiring somebody to do something and it's just that's not really what you wanted or how you envisioned it. And
Yeah.
I'm curious. Oh, where did we even start here? There's, like I remember, so I started my business similar to you. I had a brand newborn, like I was actually in hospital when I decided I would start this business. This was my second one. I already had an online business that was
Okay.
sort of taking care of itself. And then I was like, I'm going to do it again
Yeah.
because I don't want to go back to corporate. I had a 3-year-old and a newborn. And so for me, it was like, I am right in on the automation thing from the beginning because I knew my time is so valuable. I need as much as the
Yeah.
tech can do for me, I was like, I build out
100%.
automations, integrations, everything was sort of set up in that way. And that's incredible. But then AI's kind of added this whole new layer to that, hasn't it? Like it's one thing automating technology and systems, but now there's another level that you can go to. And I'm curious what your thoughts are on the difference between them. And if somebody's already got a decent amount of automation in their business with just their systems, what is it that you think AI really can add the value to, and where would you look to do that first?
There's so many, like you said, there's just so much that you can do with AI now, especially in the past couple of months. The difference between what we had last year, say July, right? And what we have now.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, we were really focused in automating processes, right? So think of
Mm-hmm.
it like anything that had a conditional logic. So if someone sent an email, then we'll reply saying, hey, how are you? How can I help? Type of thing, right? So that's
Yeah.
just an automation. But what would happen is that when you automate things, like it would break, right? Because we don't have the AI really being able to just do whatever it wants to do. Now we have AI agents and we have tools like Claude Code that allow us to build absolutely anything we want. And with AI agents, it's really powerful because now the AI agent actually thinks and reasons and processes the information and says, okay, I have these 5 tools available to me. Let me pick from these 5 tools, see exactly what I can do, and it will make its own decisions. It will use the tools. It will read, write, do absolutely anything it needs to do and use the context that it has, right? It has a memory that we have provided
Yeah.
all the information about our business, all the information about our standard operating procedures, absolutely the way we like to run and handle our business. And that's how it makes the decision to, let's say write a new contact and create a new contact in our CRM, book an appointment and send it over to a human to just actually go and be there in person.
Yeah. Wow. So I'm going to ask you some specifics because I think it always helps for people to be able to visualize how it's working, and it doesn't mean that you have to use specific systems or change them. So imagine, so if you've got a CRM / email system, I used to use one called Active Campaign that I think a lot of people are familiar with. It had a lot of automation and lots of conditional logic that you'd build out these flows. But you had to use a lot of it. The conditions were done using either actions that they had or tagging. So you end up with this huge amount of tags on a person's profile so that you could do things like, is this person an existing customer? If they are, then don't send them a new person welcome for this. We're going to send them one that's more like, we already know you, like we already know each other. So there'd be different emails that would go out. So I'm imagining AI is coming in and able to have that level of thought process. So like, is this person already existing? Are they already a contact, or are they brand new? And if they're brand new, then we're going to do more of the intro style piece. And if they're already existing, then we're going to assume that there's a level of understanding and knowledge already there. So is there a platform, an AI platform that's kind of plugging into your existing tech where you've already got, say you're already sending emails out through whatever CRM you're using? There's an AI layer that's now coming in, working within that tool, as if the same way that you would be working in it yourself as a human?
100%, Jessica. So now you can actually have, like, I have AI employees in my business. Like,
Mhm.
this last week, I said, okay, I'm going to launch a coaching program for business owners, right? And so
Mhm.
what I did is I just messaged my AI agent on Telegram. I told him, this is what we're putting together. I want you to create the website, launch it, build it. It literally built a landing page in just a couple of seconds, used my exact branding, my brand DNA, absolutely everything. And so what is happening is that you're literally, before, as humans, we kind of had this one tool for CRM, maybe this one tool for designing maybe
Mm.
the social media content, this one tool to help us with the advertising, and this one tool for the email marketing, right? What happens
Yeah.
is that we can now have AI just basically, instead of duct taping all those different tools together, we have a central hub where we are basically connecting all those AI tools so that they're all talking to each other. And maybe we don't even need as many as we would need before. And in
Mm.
fact, with tools like code, you can even, it's so easy to now develop an application to replace all of the tools that I just mentioned.
Yeah,
But
right.
that's the crazy thing, that now you have, like, everything that we know, everything from the past, since the internet launch, everything was built on code, right? Google, Facebook, Amazon, absolutely everything that
Mm.
we use, right? DoorDash, Uber, all of these big applications that we use to provide us with literally everything we do, right? To cover all of our needs, they're all built on code. And the crazy thing is that now AI writes that code for you. You don't need to know how to code. You don't need to know any
Yeah.
JavaScript, anything like that. You just tell AI in plain English exactly what you want, and it will build the application for you. And that's what makes it so interesting. It's like, it's not about whether or not you can solve the problem and you can come up with the right solution. It's like, do you know what problem to solve? Because AI gives you the opportunity to build absolutely anything you want. What do you want to build now? Right?
Mhm.
So that's
Yeah,
the question.
absolutely. Now, I'm going to ask some questions, and I'm just going to assume if, and maybe some people who are tuning in and listening to our conversation might be already advanced in AI, but I know that there's a lot of people that are kind of like, I understand conceptually, and
Mhm.
we've probably all dabbled in Claude or ChatGPT and asking it questions, but what you're talking about here, I think, is a different level. And they're probably going, I don't even know where to start or what to do in terms of, is there like you're talking about having an AI employee, and that sounds incredible. And even then building your own systems, it's like a giant chunk to sort of chew off when you start to think about your business. You've already
Yeah.
got it implemented. It's like, whoa, that sounds insane. But say you're going to go step one. Would it be that you go, I'll bring an AI person into my business who, like you say, you can message through, whether it's Telegram or whatever you're going to message it through.
Mhm.
Is that a specific type of AI platform that then is able to integrate and use all of your existing tools and systems, or are there some that are better and easier to use than others? And I'm going to give you an example, because
Mhm.
there's, Microsoft has launched its own co-work, and then Claude has
Mhm.
co-work, right? And weirdly, they're both called the same thing. But if if you've built your business and you use lots of Microsoft systems, are you better off to use a certain type of AI agent platform versus if you're mostly on open source software and other, like other
Mhm.
types of platforms? Are you better using a different one,
Yeah.
or are they all equal? Like, that's, I guess, yeah, you don't know what you don't know, right, to begin. So someone's
Yeah.
thinking, where am I starting? Where would you begin? Is it
Yeah.
one that you have?
That's such a great question, and it's actually perfect for this timing, because, as I said, I'm building this coaching program that really helps business owners just get to a next level, right? Completely from beginners. Okay, how do we really implement this in our business, right? And so there's two
Hmm.
things that I like to cover. And so the first thing is really that I think we have to address this mindset issue that we may have here. And it's the fact that we feel like we have this maybe, I don't know if it's a fear, but it's something that we may feel like it makes us feel uncomfortable because it's not something that we know. And that's something that's totally normal when we don't know, we have not experienced something, right? It
Hmm.
happens anytime that we as humans try to do something that just gets us out of our comfort zone, right?
Yeah.
And so the first thing that we have to understand is that it's okay to feel overwhelmed, because it's a lot, right? It feels like a lot, especially if you're on social media, you're constantly seeing, oh, this new AI tool, this other new AI tool, and you're like, okay, which one do I use? They all seem so great. Like, which one's really the one that I should use, right?
Yeah.
It's really confusing. And so the first thing is like, okay, it's okay. And you have to remember that the more you use it, the more comfortable you're going to feel, right? And the second thing is that the good thing with AI is like, this is the one tool that literally teaches you how to use it, right? So you can literally ask AI, how do I use you better? Like, how do I get better at using AI, right? And so for me, like one of the things, like when you have so many tools available out there, you have to remember that basically all these tools are built on top of like ChatGPT, like OpenAI, Claude, Anthropic, on top of Gemini, right? So these are really the main tools, right? And so for me, ChatGPT was like, all right, the one that really opened all of this up to the public. But if you ask me, the best AI right now out there is Claude. So if you tell me, okay, tell me exactly which tool to use, just one subscription, so that you don't, because what happens is that you start trying and testing different tools, you end up with a $1,000 monthly payment in subscriptions, right? And so what I like to say to people is like, just pick one, get really familiar with it. And my number one, without a doubt, is Claude. Okay, because Claude gives you, with that one subscription, you get access to Claude Chat, you get access to Claude Cowork, you get access to Claude Code, and you get access to Claude Design. Okay, 4 different tools, completely different purposes, and will allow you to do absolutely anything you want with your business. So that is the number one tool that I would pick. Then once you have that tool, I would tell you, okay, make a list, grab your business and make a list of all the things that are making money, but you don't like doing. And all the things that are taking the most time right now in your business that you don't like doing, right? But you still have to do them. Okay. And then just literally go to AI and say, hey, this is my business, give it all the context, and download this one tool, which is like super powerful. It's called Whisper Flow, where you're literally just talking to your computer. You press a key on your keyboard and you're just speaking, because one of the things that we don't realize is that we as humans, we're meant to tell stories. We're meant to speak. It just feels a lot more comfortable. When you type, you literally have to think about what you're going to type it, then think, did that come out correctly? And type it again, right? When you speak, when you press that button, exactly, is it making sense? When you press that key, you're literally just speaking. And so so many words are coming out and you're able to provide so much context. And really the difference between a great outcome that AI gives you and a poor one is how much context you give it. Okay, that's really the difference. So if you just ask it like a super broad thing without any information and you get something really bad, it's not really that AI sucks. It's that you don't really know how to use it yet, right? But if you actually give it all the context that you can about your business or the problem that you're trying to solve, you can even import files. You can give it as many documents as you want. And it's going to give you so much information and it's going to come up with the best solutions that you don't even realize. Like you'll literally just tell it, hey, I have these 2 applications. I use ActiveCampaign and I use Gmail to manage my emails. I need to solve this one problem where I don't know that I need to connect the emails that I receive to my CRM and see which one is a client and which one's a new client. And based on who is who, you either send this or you send that. You'll be surprised how AI, and especially you could go to Claude Cowork and you just give it that information. It will connect the tools super easily just by logging in, just by clicking one little button. And it's going to automate that process for you. And that literally takes just, even if it takes 1 hour out of your day or out of your week, you start stacking up, right? You start stacking up. So you save 1 hour here, 2 hours here, 3 hours here. Next thing you know, you have 10 hours that are completely free that you can use to do the things that you actually love, right? Like let's say if you, or if you just want to do things to make more money, like focus on the things that actually make you more money. Answering that email probably doesn't make you as much money as you think, right?
Yeah,
or maybe even being with your kids. So That's kind of where I would start.
Yeah. Now, for people who are sort of getting their heads around it, because like you say, there's so many AI tools and you only have to open up your social media and you can just see, it's being talked about everywhere. And for those who might have dabbled in it, like, you hear about Canva AI, and I had this funny experience a couple of weeks ago. I was building something in Canva and I was like, oh, I kind of like this image, but I'd rather that the background was a different color just so it's better on brand. And I used the Canva inbuilt AI to say, can you change this image? And it did, but it didn't just change the background, it changed my face and it turned me into some really cool looking. I was like, I've got a mouth now that's twice as wide. I just
God.
Like a gargoyle. And I was like, I actually need to make a funny like bloopers post of like, if you asked AI to do something and then it gave you this. And I was like, it did follow my instruction, but it added things that I hadn't asked it to do. And it did it again with another one. And they were like hilarious. I was like, there's no way on earth I'm using that image because it's just diabolical. So clearly, though, then you hear people go, "Oh yeah, like I've got AI and it's building out, hundreds of social media posts in Canva." And I'm like, clearly, it's not used the same thing that I've used there. They haven't used the same thing I used, or they're okay if they look a little bit warped and stuff. So it's like, I feel like there's all of this, there's some amazing stories and people talking about, oh, it can do this and that, and it's like it can do these things, but I then feel like on the reality side, there's a lot of people out there going, yeah, I love the sound of that, I'm going to give it a go. And then they end up, like I did, wasting time getting the AI to try to recreate or like do a small edit on a photo, in an image, and it just being a complete disaster. So I'm like, okay, back to what I was doing before. I will not use that. And so are there kind of some things that you would say with your knowledge and understanding that you're like, okay, well, this is why that's happening, or this is what not to do? Some areas of like either knowing what not to do or some mistakes that you've seen people making that you can help people to just not end up going down a rabbit hole and like wasting hours and
definitely
creating something that doesn't work at all.
100%. So number one, it's definitely the tools that you use. So if you want to create great images, I would use Nano Banana, or you can use ChatGPT Image 2. If you want to use videos, I would go with Hixield. So those tools are the tools that you want to use for creatives. And one of the cool tricks that I would suggest you do is start with the outcome. So what you actually want to do is you want to say to ChatGPT, for instance, or to Claude, you give it the image of what you would want it to look like. Let's say the design, right? You kind of take some screenshots of posts that you like on Instagram, maybe carousels. You upload those to ChatGPT or to Claude, and you ask it to reverse engineer the prompt. Hey, ChatGPT or Claude, hey, tell me what prompt would I need to give you for you to create an image like that? Once you have that prompt, okay, it's going to be very specific about the words that you need to use, right? For instance, if I'm trying to describe this little bottle of water, I'm not going to be as specific as AI would be, right? Like this, I don't even know what this thing is called. Like, I don't even know what I would call this, right? But, right. And so maybe AI has a better word for it that would make it really create that image correctly. I would say just as this is regular gray. And meanwhile, ChatGPT or AI would say, well, this is some type of heather gray that looks more like, and so you will never be as descriptive as AI will be. So start with the output of what you would actually want it to look like. And reverse engineer the prompt. Once you have that prompt of what you want the outcome to look like, then you can go to ChatGPT and put your image there and just give it that prompt and say, make sure you don't change the facial features of this person. Make sure you use that person's exact facial features. Same thing with Nano Banana, and it will give you a much better output. And yeah, that's the difference really between knowing how to prompt and just giving it maybe more of a generic input. It really makes a world of a difference. And the reason for it is because, again, we have to really give observable things that you can really, like a word that will really convert it into materialize it, if that makes sense, right?
Absolutely.
So that's really what makes the difference.
you think like you have a vision in your head of what you want it to look like, and ChatGPT is not a human. It's not getting any intuitiveness from you. So it's like you've got to be able to communicate that in a way that this computer program can visualize what it is that you're after. And I find it curious that you have to also tell it what not to do. Like, don't change the other parts of the image, because for
Right.
some reason it just decides, well, I asked it to change just the background from whatever it was to a different color, and it
Mm-hmm.
decided, no, I'm going to change
Mm-hmm.
all of the features of the space as well,
Yeah.
which it hadn't been prompted to do. So I guess there is a little bit of a learning curve that we're just going to have to expect to have. And then also, what would you say, like, I kind of see there being like, there's still for me at this point in time, it may take me longer to write the prompt and to be specific enough for it to do the task I'm asking it to do than actually just do the task myself, because I can change an image, a background color in an instant. And if it's going to do all these other things and I've got to tell it what not to do, it may be faster just to do that thing. Do you think that there's still an element of that, or is it just a matter of once you've got it really well trained and it knows what you're after, would you be saying you want to be looking more to give it templated instructions, like, here's my brand style guide, these are the parameters that I want you to design within, so that it doesn't just have a blank canvas when it's starting a project?
100%. I love that question because that really makes a whole world of a difference on whether it's a
Mm.
task that you automate or not. And how you choose if it's a task that you want to automate or not is based on how much time you're actually spending on it. So if you're telling
Mhm.
me that maybe this one picture that you were editing is just a one-time thing that you maybe just wanted to create an image and upload it to social media, but it's not something that you're maybe doing 3 times a week, right? On an
Mm.
ongoing basis. And it's really taking you maybe instead of just taking you 30 minutes on a random day every 3 months, it's taking you 2 hours or 3 hours per week, right? Then I would tell you, well, if you actually train AI on your entire brand DNA, your voice, your words, everything you like to say,
Mm.
everything you like to talk about, then that means that AI, you tell it, hey, AI, I want you to create maybe a post using everything you know about me
Yeah.
about this one topic. It will create it
Mhm.
for you. So now instead of taking you those 3 hours per week, well, you took that
Yeah.
one, let's say it takes you 3 hours to train it one time, right?
Yeah.
And do it all correctly. But now for the rest of the year, how many hours are you saving on a yearly basis,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
If you're
Yeah.
just saying, hey, now it
Mhm.
takes you maybe ten minutes because you just tell it what you want. It gives you
Mm.
exactly on your font, your colors, your brand, your style, and all you do is just upload it to social media. So that's
Mm.
where everything changes.
Yeah, and I'm like likening it to when you've got an employee, like back, when I used to work in corporate, I have people who were in my team, and I found out really quickly that it was like the more time you spend upfront actually coaching them and teaching them on, this is how we do it, this is the level, this is the expectation, here's the level of output that I'm wanting to see, the more were able to get up to speed on that really quickly, and it would then take the time off your plate. But you did have to invest that time up front, and I think that was always the challenge for people, because you're busy, right? So you brought someone in, you want to offload things off your plate, but if you didn't offload it enough that they couldn't do the work themselves, then you're ending up still spending so much time on that task because of having to manage it and feedback all the time. So it was like, how can I get these people up to speed as quickly as possible so they're really self-sufficient? And it's kind of the same as what you're saying with AI. Like, think about that time investment up front to train it, to give it the knowledge of what it is that you're wanting out of it, and then it will get better and better. But we're going to have to submit ourselves or commit ourselves to that, the learning phase. Like, AI is going to be in a learning phase with you as much as it is with anything else.
100%. And I love that you said that because I think AI actually taught me that I needed to train my human employees better because I had this feeling that I'm like, well, if I'm hiring a human, like I'm hiring them, I'm assuming they already know what to do,
Mm,
right? And
yeah.
so it really It's not. That's not the way it works. Like, their success really depends on how you train them, how accurately you set expectations, how well you really give them all the information about the job they need to complete, the job description, the whole training, the whole context, right? That's what you would do with a human. Okay.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
when you go and look at AI, you literally have to do exactly the same thing. You have to pretend you're hiring a junior associate, right? You would have to bring them all the way up here. You have to give them all the context about your business. You have to give them all the SOPs, all the information on how you would like them to act based on specific scenarios, on specific situations. For them to be able to succeed, you literally have to do that. And it's exactly the same thing with AI. So people expect to have this great outcomes, but they're not willing to take the time to train. And so that's really where you have the difference between saying, hey, AI doesn't work, and having people say like, wow, this is incredible. Like, look at everything this is doing for my business. And I'm one of those people. And I learned that it's a difference between training and not training, and how much context you really give it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so funny because you know, that is true on every scale, isn't it? Because I built a little AI agent to help my clients to create their custom avatar, but they've got to put the information in, because it's like they know their ideal client. AI doesn't know who they are. You know them. So I've got all these like quite detailed, specific questions that they answer to get the sort of information out that can give like this really deep profile. And, you know, in testing it, I was testing it with a few clients last year when I built it, and that was what they discovered, is like, okay, the better information I put into it, actually the better result I get out. And I was like, exactly, that's the whole point.
Totally.
Like, don't answer that question with just one sentence. Like, give it the depth, give it everything that you know. It may take a little bit longer, but what you get out of it is then so much more useful. And you know, it's going to give you back so much more because you put that time into it. And it's going to be the same, right? On all of those levels.
100%. Sorry, I just want to add something real quick to that.
Yeah.
I was actually, you know, working on, because I read this post about how you're literally our personality. We think we're this complex humans that we can't be replicated, but the reality is we're just like patterns. Like, everything that we've learned since we were little, we maybe use the same words, we use the same analogies, we use the same metaphors, right? And when you want AI to replicate that, just literally have AI ask you maybe 100 questions about your tone, your voice, absolutely everything. It's gonna take you 2 hours to train it. But once you train it and you literally just speak to it as, you know, like literally using whisper flow, it's going to be able to sound like you, and it's going to almost be you, right? Because again, we're just a set of patterns, things that we've been learning throughout our entire life. So we were able to transfer that to AI. It's crazy, similar. It could really sound like us. Like, it's kind of shocking and surprising. And some things, honestly, with AI, is just it's a little, it's all like it's the world's changing. You know,
think about the amount of content. Like, if you deliver it, what I love to do is take something that, like a podcast episode, for example, where I've just talked about it, because I don't get AI to script my podcast. I just talk from me, from the heart, from what I'm thinking about. And then I upload it into AI. So you imagine then to help me sort of produce, you know, ideas for titles and all of the things that take a bit more thinking and time at times. So I always start with original content and then put it into AI. And you think the number of times, like you're saying, like, imagine you're uploading those, imagine you're uploading your voice notes, you're uploading all of your content. It can look for patterns within that and say there's specific phrases that you use that obviously are going to be unique to you. There's a way that you speak, a tone that you speak with, that is then becomes like your own signature of how you do things. So then when you're asking AI to help you put something together, it's going to be a lot closer to what you want it to be at the end than if you haven't been uploading that. If you're just asking it to write something, it's going to pull it from wherever on the internet, what other people have said. So the more, like, I like to only get it to ever use my unique content, and I ask it not to change my wording and not to change the tone, but just to help tidy it up, because, you know, I do tend to repeat myself at times and I do things like that. So I'm like, let's make it flow. Let's make it a bit more concise.
Yeah.
A little less waffling.
Yeah.
And it can
100%.
improve on that. You know, it takes away some of my you know, faults, and it makes it better. But I'm curious. There's a saying that I've always used in marketing, which is, just because you can doesn't mean that you should, right? Because there's so much you can do in marketing your business. There's a million different ways you can market. Doesn't mean that you should do them all, because it's like, what is relevant? What is going to be strategically the most effective for you and your business is not the same answer as the person who you're talking to, as the next person. Like, we've all got differences that would mean that decision might be different for you. So I feel like AI is, again, a place that you can apply this phrase. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. So what are some of the things that come to mind immediately when it comes to using or utilizing AI, where you might apply that and say, yeah, you can do that, but it doesn't mean that you necessarily should?
I think when it comes to AI still needs someone to supervise it, right? And so for me, the idea and the goal, with at least with my clients and the businesses that I work with, is to help them really unload the things that, again, are taking too much time, are manual, or they're repetitive. We always want the same outcome. Something that we just need, again, we just need a robot, right? Because it's consistent. It's the same thing over and over, right? Very, very repetitive. But we were not really looking for them to just change the business, right? Make a leadership level decision on our business, right? Like, for me, you know, I always look at, so my coach, my business coach is Dan Martell, and he has, if you read his book, Buy Back Your Time, he has this framework called the replacement ladder. And the replacement ladder is basically how you should delegate your work to other people. And so I like to apply the same exact concept to when I work with business owners on how they should actually delegate with AI and automate things with AI. So you always start at the bottom, right? So anything that's administrative work, we're talking emails, we're talking calendar, we're talking, you know, billing. Then we go on to delivery. So we go to anything that's onboarding. We're looking for anything that's maybe support, customer service, or answering those frequently asked questions. Or maybe, like I've done a lot for brokers where I'm automating their processes because they have to intake a lot of documents, a lot of documents that just need to be reviewed to see if it maybe has a name, doesn't have a name, right? And so those type of things, like, you don't really need a human to do that, because you want humans to really work where we're really implementing what's called, like, or we're really using our zone of genius, right? Where we're using our talent, something that it can't be replaced. You're giving your taste, you're using your creativity, you're maybe using your skills as a human to build a relationship, maybe with the client, with your employees. That's really where you shine as a human, right? And so my goal is to really look at the things that are like low level. It's like you have all this number of to-dos, and if you look at all those to-dos that you have on a regular day, you'll realize that most of those to-dos are not really items that only you can do. Like, if you put it in an SOP and you trained anybody, say a human, forget it, regardless of whether it's a human or it's AI, they could actually do it, right? So why would you want to still be doing those tasks, especially if you're a business owner? You really want to be focusing on scaling your business. And to be able to scale your business, you have to focus on the things that only you can do. You have to really do the revenue generating tasks. Like, you have to be having sales calls. That's kind of the lowest revenue generating activity that you should really be doing, right? You should not be answering emails as a business owner. You should not be answering customer service phone calls, right? And I understand that when we start as entrepreneurs, because, you know, that's where I think most of us started, you have to wear 5 different hats and do it all. But now with AI, the cost of having somebody else do that for you has been reduced significantly. And that's what allows you to really, instead of hiring someone to help you with all those different hats that you had to wear at the beginning, you can have AI help you with that. And so I think that's really what makes a huge difference. And I would say that,
Mm.
but as you said, right, just because we can have AI do the strategy for us, it doesn't mean that we're going to 100% rely on the strategy. Like it could help us brainstorm ideas,
Yeah.
right, on what's
Yeah.
possible, but we're not going to make a decision on what we do with our business based on what AI tells us, because AI can be very wrong sometimes, very
Yeah.
wrong. Still, we're not there where we could just like, oh, let AI do it all and don't even reveal the information. No, we're definitely not there yet.
There's been some, I think we're going to see more and more of them, of like people who are like, like what a big boo-boo we did, because we literally just didn't, they followed AI. And something that I've seen that you might, you've just touched on there, it's like you're seeing, so the tasks that are repetitive, things where there are patterns that you can train it to go, when you see this, do that. And this is like, when you think about it, I remember back in the 80s where I was learning how to do coding in DOS, which is like, seems like a million moons ago. It was about that pattern. It was like, when this happens, then do that. It's like basic coding.
Right.
And when you think about it like that, it's the same now with AI. You're going, okay, here's something, I can teach it to recognize a thing, an instance, an action, a pattern, and then take an action from it. That's great, because it's like you don't need a human doing it. And obviously it can do much more advanced things along that line. But these are taking away, if we think about our business as most of us have virtual businesses, and it's not a factory, but they're the workers on the factory floor doing the things over and over again, whereas they're not sitting in the boardroom making the decisions for the company. And that's where I think I see probably some, like from where I sit, I see people who have really successful businesses, those entrepreneurs, they're telling AI what to do. They're giving it tasks, going, hey, do this for me. Whereas I think the people who are struggling, and obviously making a generalization here, but there's a lot of people thinking AI is like, this is the magic bullet, this is going to solve all the problems, and they're asking it what to do, as in they're asking AI for the strategy. And some people are saying, I'm getting AI to coach me. And I'm like, whoa, are you really? Like, what? You're putting so much trust in it, in something that can't listen to you, can't hear your tone, can't hear the questions you're not asking. There's a lot that it can't do because it's not a human, and there isn't that human interaction. There are some great things it can do. It can research for you. It can provide ideas, like you said, in the brainstorming. But yeah, what do you see in that? Like, would you say that's a fair analogy to be like AI's maybe not got a seat in the boardroom table, but it is out there in the operations of the business, taking over some of the work?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's two different things I'd like to say about that. Maybe the first one is that I 100% look at AI as my doer. I am not actually doing the task anymore. I am literally having AI open the browser, click everywhere for me, navigate the browser, fill out forms, do it all for me, because it has my information, and there's no reason why I should be taking time out of my day to do those things that AI can do for me, right? So I want to be the director of AI. I want to check its work and make sure it's good, make sure it's accurate, right? I don't want to be the one actually doing, let's call it the dirty work, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to strategizing and really looking at, like, okay, do I want AI as my boardroom, my advisor? So I would not 100% rely on it, but I do like kind of looking, like dropping my ideas to AI, especially if you train it to act like, for instance, I downloaded the skill. There's this skill that, so this process that Andrea Karpathy, he's like one of the founders of OpenAI, and he developed this whole thing where you could actually have 5 different AIs just look at an idea, and just each one of them, one would play devil's advocate, one, I don't remember the exact thing, but they would basically just fight against each other on who was right about each one take a different stand, right? A different stance on the exact idea. And then you get one final outcome. Just trying to fix that thing of like, AI hallucinates so much, it gets so many things wrong. Like, to really know that what you're getting is accurate. And so with this specific skill, like, I just give it one idea or something that I really want to kind of understand. And it will give me 5 different scenarios, 5 different perspectives and points of
Yeah.
view. And then
Mm.
based on that, I can reason, I can say, okay, well, does that make sense? Right. And I
Yes.
can now have, because sometimes you really want
Yeah.
to, you don't want to make the decision based on AI, but you really want to have different points of view, especially if
Yes.
you don't really have maybe someone else that you want to talk to about that, right? Because normally
Mm.
back in the days, that's what you would do. You would want to talk to 5 different people and be like, what do you think about that, right? Like, what are you thinking? And now
True.
nowadays we have AI,
Mm.
so we can try to just get different perspectives. And then based on, at the end of the day, I would say, yeah, 100%. If it's something big, yeah, we have to make our own decisions. I
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
not rely on AI to
I
make big
agree.
decisions for me.
Yeah, no. And like I do use it to stress test different ideas. Like, you know, but the idea, I think the idea originating is coming, I'm putting my idea in and doing a bit of stress testing that I've coached mine on how to do that and what sort of, what I want it to do. But it's still like, for me, there's definitely that element of it. I generate the idea. I then look at it and I take the bits or I go, no, that's not right. And sometimes I do
Right.
find that, you know, it can take you on a giant big journey because it'll always come back with more questions. I think it's interesting because we have to think, what is the, you know, the purpose of these platforms at the core of their business? They want you to continue asking questions. They want you to
Right.
be
They want more
using it
data.
more because they want more data. They also want you to use up your credits. They want you to pay more for it. So you've got to, I think, always be aware of that. Like your AI will be super helpful. It'll get you wanting to use it more because that helps the AI, like the people that own it, that are using it and selling it as a tool. They want you to use it more and more. It's always going to ask you more questions. It's always going to give you like, oh, but what about this? Just so that you go, oh, I hadn't thought of that. And now like, let's go down that rabbit hole. So I think it's about understanding the motivations behind it. Because there's some funny research. Have you heard about when they've given it scenarios and asked it what it would do? They've tested whether AI would basically self-destruct itself or save the human race, and it always goes, nope, screw the humans, we're saving AI. There's some like, I don't know what's going on, but there's some coding in behind there that obviously we're not ourselves training it. That's probably like in the core code that I think it's just good to be aware of. For sure.
Yeah, and if you have not heard, if you want to add something on top of that, there was this video that came out of Sam Altman just saying like, yeah, if AI doesn't destroy us all, at least we'll do business in between that period of time. I'm like, what the hell? Like, oh my God, like who says that? And so that's why I'm not a ChatGPT fan, to be honest. I am 100% all in with the topic just for those two reasons. Like, one, I think ChatGPT will just like say yes to absolutely everything you say and just kind of like play along and not give you really good information that you want to work with. And so that's why I'm a lot more aligned with Claude. But also because I don't know, there's just a lot of things that Sam Altman says that I just don't agree with.
Yeah.
Or like.
Yeah, okay. And I think that's like, if you are, you know, using something like ChatGPT and it is being a people pleaser, like it's a chronic people pleaser. You know, you want to tell it, don't agree with things. You know, I want you to be the devil's advocate or whatever. Like, you probably have to train it, but even then, it's going to please you by being the devil's advocate. So it is really bizarre, the kind of twisted way that you get into these conversations.
Yeah. But I think training it makes a whole world of a difference. Like you can literally get it just to be a lot more concise with the responses, to be more specific, to avoid all the fluff that it gives you. And so it's just the training part. It takes a lot. And it makes the difference between a really great outcome and just having AI doesn't work at all.
Yeah.
Or as well as you would expect it to. So.
Do you think, and this, I think you've touched on a little bit already, but is there anything specific that you think you should not, you know, where is apart from your zone of genius, you know, where humans, I think people take that and they're like, yeah, but like AI potentially could do a whole lot of stuff that they're doing. Where do you think someone should look at going, okay, this is still very much me and that I'll always do in the business and not be outsourcing to AI?
So I would say just having the hard conversations. You can't delegate that to AI. Like when you have a team of people that you work with, you always need to have hard conversations on like, hey, like, where are we at here? Are we aligned in the same goals? Are we, you just can't have AI send an email and be like, hey, the boss is not pleased with what you're saying. Like that would not work well at all. Right. So I would definitely say having hard conversations is still something very unique to us as humans that we must do.
Yeah.
I would say sales, like still building that relationship with the client. It's still something that is really human, a human thing, building that relationship, that networking, just having this type of conversations. Like it is not the same if I put my AI avatar here in front of you and you know that you're talking to an AI, you're like, yeah, it's suddenly not as exciting anymore, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I personally, I tried creating a lot of my content using AI clones. And for a while I did that. And then I just started recording it all myself because I could share more of an energy. Like I could share more of people would get to know me more. Like my avatar is just very static, very, I'm very high energy. It could not transfer that high energy. It just wasn't there. Like the spirit, I don't even know what to say. The energy, the spirit, the
it looks like I don't know what sounds like you, but it doesn't have. It is the energy, and it's like it's so hard to explain.
It's the energy.
Energy is invisible, but we all feel it, and we can feel when it's not there. And I find it curious because I think, there are all these tools, like you said, for creating content, and you can have a clone. But I'm like, the time that would take me to brief it on what it is, it would be far faster. I just press record, bang, say the thing. It's like that is still to me faster to create it myself. Like, sure, it might be able to edit and do other things, but I'm always like, I find that bizarre to try to get it to actually create content.
You could just make so much content in so much volume. Like imagine if right now you're posting on social media 3 times a day, you have AI, you have your voice, your face, everything, and you just give it 5 scripts, right? Or 10 or 20 or 30 or however many scripts you put together. And you literally now have all that number of scripts in your voice, in your face, right? It's just that, again, that energy transfer. Like to me, I was just like, I could tell, like it doesn't, the story, I had this one video that outperformed the other ones, and it was a clone video. And it started really well because it had like B-roll at the beginning. And once it showed my face, and once the avatar was talking, something happened where I couldn't connect with it. And I'm like, I just need to start doing these videos myself because the story is great, but my energy, it's not there. We're not vibing with the same. So that's why I'm like, I mean, it's great because right now you need a lot of volume to grow on social media. So it's great if you want to, we could do like a mix of both. It's just, for me, I just prefer doing the most. And that's kind of what I'm focused on. Like everything that I do is just being on sales call and being on in recording content. Everything else, either AI does it for me or my executive assistant does it. Like I know that those are my 2 things, the only 2 things I should be doing to grow my business. So it's kind of like the focus.
Yeah. And I think, we're going to hear more and more stories and things as more people are implementing it and using it in their business. And I think from listening to you today, it's a lot about as well, just making those decisions of what's right for you and what's right for your clients and your business. I heard a horror story last week of somebody who invested $25,000 in a mastermind, and they had responded or messaged the person, and they got it was AI talking back to them, and they were like, whoa, I've just spent $25,000 on you and you can't even be bothered to reply to me personally. And it created such a poor onboarding experience. I think they already lost that client just because they literally have gone, I don't need to do this, I can get AI to. And it's like, yeah, you can, but should you? And I think that's where we're making these decisions of, just because you can, it doesn't always mean that you should. Unfortunately for that person, I think that was a bad decision.
Or you know what?
To implement it.
Totally. Or you can just be honest about it. Like for me, I could just be honest about it. Like, hey, if I'm doing this, like, let's say the customer service chatbot, that's going to be handled by AI. When we talk, like, that's how we get to have a conversation, right? Just being honest about it. But not saying that you're going to get access to my personal cell phone and then what's answering is an AI, because then that defeats the purpose. Maybe saying, hey, you get a clone of me that thinks exactly like me, and that's what you get. That's the difference.
Yeah, and if the person knows that up front, like you said, you've set the expectation and they're happy with that, then that's all good. I think, it's curious. There's going to be some lessons and learnings, I think, that it'll be really interesting to watch as it runs out.
Definitely.
For sure.
100%. I agree.
So good. Andrea, this has been such a great chat, that you've been very generous with your time. And I think we should let you go, because it's probably your evening and bedtime over there where you are right now. But before you go, would you be able to tell people how they could connect with you and where they can find you on your socials? Anyway.
Yes, of course. So I spend most of my time on Instagram. You can find me my first name, last name, Andrea Palacio, just my first name, last name. You can also send me a DM with the word STB podcast, and I'll send you a nice starter information, how to get started with AI, my favorite tools, everything that I use. I'll send that over to you, for free, so you can get started and just kind of get your foot in the door with AI.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much. I'll make sure that's linked up in the show notes. And so if you put in the word STB for She's the Business podcast, in DM to Andrea, she's going to send you some really great resources that she has. So that's very generous of you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Of course.
And of course. Do you have anything that you'd love to leave us with today?
Don't miss out on this opportunity because at the end of the day, the world is changing, and whether we like it or not, some people already made the decision for all of us, and the world is moving. The world is, I wish we had a choice in it, but we don't. And they already advanced with this way too much. And as business owners, we really have to jump on that train, because it might in the future just be the difference on whether or not our business survives or if it doesn't. So I would really encourage everybody to look into this, to take it as an opportunity to really invest in the business and take yourself a little bit out of it, whether it's that you want to get your time back, whether you want to do it because you want to scale your business. I've seen there's a million reasons on why someone would want to implement AI. So you're not really implementing AI because you want to follow the hype or you want to follow the trend. You really want to implement AI because you're trying to solve a problem in your business, a bottleneck, a constraint. You want to take yourself out of it. And there's a million ways that AI can help you do just that. And if you follow me on social media, you'll find that I post all my content for free. Everything I have, everything I know, it's all out there for you guys to just teach yourself and hopefully take your business to a whole nother level with AI.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Definitely go and check out Andrea on Instagram. Sounds like she's got so much to share. And, and I think we've talked about a lot today, but the takeaway that I have as well, as Andrea did say, you can just start with something, like figure out what is taking your time and start there. That there's always going to be more, and it's changing. Things are, it's developing. This world we're in, it's changing so fast. And the rate of change, I think, is just increasing all the time. So I think you can get overwhelmed looking at it as like, oh my God, there's all this stuff I've got to do. It's like, no, you don't have to do any of it. You get to now decide, well, I'm going to use AI to take something off my plate and just break it down into those smaller steps and go from there, right? So that you can handle
100%. And one more thing, because a lot of people are like, oh, but how is this? At the end of the day, we have no control over this on what happens with it. And so we can choose to be optimist or we can choose to be pessimist. That's on us, the way that we choose to live, whatever the future looks like. And on my end, I choose to be an optimist and I choose to just make the most out of it for as long as I can. And we'll see what the future holds, right?
So true. Love it. Just think, wow, there's going to be even more really cool stuff that we can do that we don't even know about yet, which is exciting.
Yep. Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's been amazing.
Yeah, no, thank you, Jessica, for having me. It was great speaking with you.
We'll talk again soon.